Is AI causing a panic? Let's find out with today's special guest, Bill Canady.
Welcome to the Artificial Intelligence Podcast, where we make AI simple, practical, and accessible for small business owners and leaders. Forget the complicated tech talk or expensive consultants. This is where you'll learn how to implement AI strategies that are easy to understand and can make a big impact for your business. The Artificial Intelligence Podcast is brought to you by Fraction AIO, the trusted partner for AI digital transformation. At Fraction AIO, we help small and medium-sized businesses boost revenue by eliminating time-wasting, non-revenue generating tasks that frustrate your team. With our custom AI bots, tools, and automations, we make it easy to shift your team's focus to the tasks that matter most, driving growth and results. We guide you through a smooth, seamless transition to AI, ensuring you avoid costly mistakes and invest in the tools that truly deliver value. Don't get left behind. Let Fraction AIO help you stay ahead in today's AI-driven world. Learn more and get started at fractionaio.com.
Now, Bill, I think this is a really important question because there are three groups of people. There's the early adopters, the people that are waiting out in line outside the Apple store every time there's a new iPhone. Then there's the people that are trying to catch the wave right in the middle. And then there's the people that are always buy the stock on the way down and waiting and waiting. And I fluctuate to all three camps. And when it comes to AI, it's legitimate to be in each of the three different camps. Depends on the size of your business. And I can see a reason to be each of them. And I was working on a project today that I've been working on for 2 years, and I'm building the third version, and it's completely different to how I built it 2 years ago. I'm like, we got to start from the ground up because this foundation, everything's changed. So I can see why people hesitate. And there's the sense of panic of I'm too soon, I'm too late. When's the right time to jump in? How do we handle that emotional angle as we approach AI?
Wow. Boy, you come right out with guns blazing with those big questions, Jonathan. First of all, it's great to see you. It's interesting in our daily worlds, in our daily lives, if you've been doing this stuff at any time at all, it's amazing the amount of change that gets thrown at us. And change is exhausting, right? So whether I'm building an app or I'm fighting with tariffs or I've got HR issues, something's always for sure coming at us. AI is interesting. I can't decide if it's going to help me or kill me. Probably a little bit of both, right? And so what I found with people is, first of all, just look back with us. Most of us have seen significant change in our lives. And if you're a certain age, you remember time really before computers and after computers. You remember time before cell phones and after cell phones, right? That first one maybe dates me a little bit, but I remember, and I still see it today, where people will fight whatever tools that they have at us, they have in front of us. So what I tell people is this: it's just like getting on a roller coaster. The reason that we get on there, one is we're excited to see it. Second one is we think it's going to kill us. So it's this combination of both really strong emotions. But at our heart, we believe that we're going to make it through it. I think it's the same thing with AI. We have to suspend the belief that AI is going to make our lives more difficult. And the second piece is it's going to make the fun or the ride a lot more fun. So that's how I like to think of it. What we're doing with AI today, what's reaching the average person, is actually making their life easier in some trivial manner at the least.
I'm glad you brought up cell phones. I think that's really interesting that we all now have reached a point where we can't imagine not having them. But same thing when I grew up. Like when I grew up, pagers just came out, and the thought of having a pager meant your parents trusted you, had a little bit more freedom. My kids have no idea what that is. Like they can't even imagine just something that just shows a phone number and then you have to go find something to call it back and all that journey. And I still remember the one time I lost my pager in a bush. I spent like an hour looking for something. I cannot lose this. My parents will kill me. And now it's, what's it worth? Nothing. So but the question I ask myself is, have phones really made our lives better? We are more connected, but are we happier? And I think about it, like I'm very distant from my phone. And actually the only reason my phone is even on the desk with me right now is I was like, sometimes I like to set up a timer so I keep track of how long these meetings are so I don't lose track. And that's really the only reason I have my phone near me. I always have the sound off. Very rarely do I turn the sound on. Maybe once or twice a month when I'm expecting a call from my wife, like if she's at the doctor's or something, then I'll turn it on. But I used to be so obsessed with it. I was like, I need to be accessible. Every email address that is attached to me for every different project I have, always alerts. And I would get these phantom buzzes in my pocket. And we see everyone talk about all these different apps, and no one ever says, have all these apps, I'm happier. So I do wonder about that. And I think a lot of it for me comes down to how we use it. I do not use technology except when I'm at work. Like for me, the internet's my job. If it wasn't my job, I'd be outside all the time. Like I'd rather be outside swimming with my kids on the beach, walking in nature in a mountain, whatever it is, like connecting to the real world is getting more and more important to me. But I think that part of the fear of artificial intelligence is that it's an unstoppable force and it's really changed things. Like, do you remember when people used to have a work phone and a home phone? That's gone. Like that separation has changed. We've now merged. And the thing I worry about is the merging between your personal and your professional life more and more. Like now we record every single meeting and maybe the AI catches everything. So now when you make that stray comment about your boss or like that's something that like we think no one's listening. Now it's in a transcript somewhere and the AI knows it. All someone has to do is ask it the right question and it will tell on you. So is it going to make life better or increase people's stress levels?
I think it does both. I remember first time I bought a house, this is years ago, same exact thing you were talking about. I had to go in, sign everything and deal with it there. The second time I bought one, we actually bought it over a fax machine. And we were traveling out west. I was out there for some meetings and I had to find a place for them to send me a fax. So we were actually driving through the Black Hills in South Dakota. I pull over to a Denny's restaurant. I go inside and it turns out they actually had a fax machine. I get the guy to let them fax what I needed to that machine so we could sign papers and own a house. Today, you can do it all on your phone. So it makes it so much more convenient. But the stress that comes with being immediately available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is nerve wracking. You don't really feel that you can't respond to it. And that's why I got the same problem. I have phantom buzzes of my phone when I'm in my pocket. I don't, is it going? And I'll be somewhere in a meeting and I'm looking at that, trying to pay attention, which makes me horribly inefficient. But with that enhanced productivity becomes this always on type of persona, which it makes marriages tougher. It makes your free time go away. It does all the negative things that you can deal with. I actually think AI has the capability to make this better for us because one of the things now that I see is I'll get an email and I've got Microsoft products and there's Copilot on there. It'll summarize the email if I wanted to. It says, what does this email say? It'll pull the notes out. Same thing with these meeting bots that come in and tape everything. Just like you said, I hope my boss doesn't listen to me all the time, but we'll come in and summarize. Say, here's the 10 key points. Now, it makes it so much easier, but now instead of having that one meeting, that one call, we've got 10 meetings going on. So every time we free space in our life, we don't have to read the whole transcript. AI is doing it. We seem to fill it back up with something else. I think that's really the issue is we are jammed at so much every day, jammed up, and we have so much coming at us. We keep adding more when we find free space.
So this brings actually one of the most important concepts for me and how I run my business and my divisions at the company I work at now as well, is that every time I hire someone new, I tried a new employee today for my consulting business. And he was like, what hours do I have to work? And I said, I don't care. You work for me 40 hours a week. I'll give you a list of tasks. You tell me how many tasks you can finish this week. At the end of the week, if those tasks are done, we're all good. And he was like, I was like, you could work 40 hours straight Monday and Tuesday and then take the rest of the week off. I don't care because I don't want to spend the time to monitor you. Like I have all those tools that takes the screenshots, monitor someone's time. And if you're tracking their hours, now it's more work for me. And we've had a big shift towards that with remote working. And I see this problem a lot of remote working where you track by time and that rewards inefficiency. If something's going to take 30 hours, you can stretch it to 40 and you don't have traditional tasks. I'd rather avoid that whole game and just do task-based payments. That makes life so much easier. Here's the task you said you get done and do that. But because we have this issue, which you brought up, which is so important, which is that every time we get more free time, we fill it in. Like I see this from a lot of AI consultants. They go, hey, I'll help you save 2 hours per employee every week. And so, yeah, that has no value unless they refill that 2 hours with something else. Otherwise, someone's taking up lunch. Now I got to give them more tasks. There's something really interesting that's happening in places that charge by time, like lawyers. They charge every 3 or 15 minutes, depending how serious your law firm is. If they get the job done in half the time, how did they bill for that? They actually are rewarded for making a task take longer, which is a very interesting thing since my family, except for me, is all lawyers. So we're thinking about that concept a lot. And I think that this is like a really critical part. Now, what I love about your work, and this is something I wanted to dive into next, is the concept of 80-20. Everyone knows the 80-20 rule. Nobody does it. The really hard part of the 80-20 rule is the analysis portion, is to look at the end of the week and say, what did I do? How valuable was it? And that's where AI really shines. So one of my favorite things to do is I can take a screenshot of my LinkedIn data. LinkedIn is great. Of all the social media platforms, it gives you the most analytics on the back end. I take a screenshot of that, throw it into whatever AI I want, doesn't matter. And it will analyze the data for me. Because I think that's where most people mess up. Because I've seen previous methods where it's like you turn on a time tracker and you track your own time. I don't want to do that for my employees. Why would I do that for myself? But if I can look at all the different things and get a sense of what moved the needle the most, I think that's really one of the first places we can start to shine. I think that we want to be efficient. We all talk about the Pareto principle. We all say we're going to become more efficient, but most people really struggle with the implementation, with being able to analyze, either tracking how you spent your time, which tools will do now for you automatically. And then when you combine that with what generated revenue, what worked, but it's that analysis portion, I think, where a lot of people get stuck. In your experience, is that where people get stuck when they're trying to do 80/20?
Yeah, 100% to get to the data and they're not sure what to do. You said so much that it was so important. Many of our jobs that we have, many of our businesses are predicated at getting paid by being inefficient. So if you're an attorney and you're charging by the minute or the hour or whatever it is, if you can do that in half the time, holy cow. So I think we'll see people moving more towards value sales. I'll do this, but it's XYZ. The other thing that you said that was really important is, like with us, we give unlimited vacation time now. We don't even track it anymore. As long as you and your manager agree that you can go, you go. You have to do your work. So if your work takes you 10 minutes a week or 40 hours a week or 100, we don't actually care. We just judge by, can you get the output done? And there's mixed blessings that come with that. Some people will tell you rightly that when you give people unlimited vacation, they actually take less vacation. It's an interesting conundrum, but they're in control of it. They can decide what they want to do and where they're going. And I think we're going to see more and more of that as traditional things that take a long time to do, build a website, write a contract, write a speech. Now AI can give me the rough draft of that. Can't give me the final one. Typically, you got to go through, but they can give me the rough draft and something in 5 minutes, analyze the data from LinkedIn. I remember having to load that into an Excel, then do the calculations myself and say, all right, what does that mean? And think about it. Giving me that rough draft, defeating that white page saves me sometimes hours on end. Does that mean I should make less income? Does that mean I should work harder and go get more clients? So you have to decide on each and every one of those. So when I look at where this is taking us, I think just as the calculator made us do math faster, the phone allowed us to communicate quicker, the computer allowed us to put so much together, I think AI is going to do the same thing. It's going to make us far more efficient. You're going to see different pricing models, different things coming out to folks and then the charging on how we got into it is for sure going to have to change and how people get paid. Otherwise, you're going to incentivize people to delay, almost lie to you to make a reasonable living.
In a lot of specialties that I know about, you have to make it seem to take longer than one of the people that I trained is a copywriter. A normal long form sales letter is supposed to take a month and she'll finish in 2 days. I said, don't deliver it because they'll pay you less. Quality, it's just she'll finish it and then wait 2 to 3 weeks to deliver to the person and get paid more. And there's this idea that if it takes longer, it's more valuable. So this is also what happens a lot in logo design. So the logo's ready in an hour, but they go, if I wait 2 weeks to deliver it, then it'll be more valuable because there's a perception of value. Unfortunately, this is a problem we have. And I'd rather have it now. So we have to create a value for immediacy. We have to have this psychological shift, I think, in that because for a lot of things, we want it now. Like we want fast food. Why don't we want a fast logo? Why do we think longer is better? And one of my mentors a long time ago is like, why do we have to suffer in order to experience success? Why do we feel like the more you suffer on the way, the more valuable the success is, the more you'll appreciate it? Why not? Like, why do we feel like that's necessary? And I think that's one of the things I had to think that stuff a lot. I think that all the time. So I have to suffer. Otherwise I won't appreciate the experience. I don't know how true that is. I think I can appreciate not
That's what our
suffering.
parents told her. You got to pay your dues. You got to get in there. You can't start out at the top. You can't. Yeah, and a lot of times it's true, right? To grow, it takes 20 years to grow an oak tree. And it takes 9 months to make a baby. Taking 9 people working 1 month still will not give you a baby. It's going to take 9 months to do it. So it's exactly right. That is built in our culture. And sometimes it's true, but there's a lot of times it's not true.
Yeah. It's very interesting to think that we lock into these concepts and it's like, really hard because I've gotten into some big debates on LinkedIn about this, about like how everyone wants to work from home. Now I've worked from home for 15 years. I know it's a lot harder. There's a lot
I
more
think so.
distractions. And everyone got so mad at me. I was like, you can tell who doesn't want to have to go back to the office. I'm like, there, you have to be able to self-motivate. And only about 10% of people can. That's why only about 10% of people even try entrepreneurship. It's a small number of people because there's such a difference. Like when I took a job recently with a large organization, a big startup, and there's a lot of employees. And I logged in on Saturday. I was like, where's everyone? And I realized, oh, they work Monday to Friday. Like I can't even wrap my head around that. So I've built a schedule. I work 7 days a week, shorter hours. That's my shift. So if I work 5 hours a day or 6 hours a day instead of 8 Monday to Friday, it's the same number of hours, but it's like I have a lot more freedom. And I prefer that shift. I can spend more time with my kids and kind of pace. And it's like when you run a company, when there's an emergency email on Sunday, you still have to deal with it. So I have this like different approach. And but to work from home and to self-motivate to put in the hours, and there's so many distractions. Like I've never been to an office where my computer also has a PlayStation 5 connected to it, or my wife can walk in the room in the middle, or my kids, right? So there's a different challenge for working from home, and there's company culture challenges. So we love working from home, but why? And the number one reason everyone puts is the commute. I'm like, yeah, you don't get paid for the commute. That's something completely different. Now it's a different argument. We're like, oh, I waste my time commuting. It's like, yeah, that's a very different thing because that's your time, not company time. Whether you agree with it or not, that's where you have to start thinking about it. It's like, yeah, I like that I can walk over the computer and start shooting this episode. I don't have to drive to an office or something, but that's not paid time. So the real challenge, I think, with working from home and with more and more technology taking a part of your life is that we have to have this mindset shift, because you can work, if you shift to task-based payment, then work from home is fine. It removes everything because you're totally self-controlled. So if you work extra hours, you get more stuff done, you make more money. Or you can do your pace, but you work faster, you make the same amount of money, you have more free time. Because I certainly know, I don't know if you're guilty, when I was working in an office, I would always have to stretch tasks to fill out the week because they wouldn't give me enough stuff to do. And I would stretch out because I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, it's so true. I like where you're going with this. I think you'll see things going more task based and give me the work and get it to me as high quality as possible. I remember it wasn't that long ago. I was asked to give a presentation, a short speech, if you will, on a particular topic. I probably would have spent 3 or 4 days just roughing out the speech I was going to give and things like that in this particular situation. I asked ChatGPT, hey, here's the situation. It's a Veterans Day speech. I want to say something nice. It gave me, I told it how long. I said I was going to speak for 10 minutes. It gave me 1,000 words in 10 minutes. And then I made it my own, right? And so what normally would have taken me a couple of days to get pretty good at it, took me probably an hour, and I had something that was very usable. Moving into that, all of a sudden you become more effective. You become better with it. And back to working from home, it's interesting. We look at our employees. So people who are senior like you and me and others who have a body of work that we're standing upon and have our relationships, working from home is an enabler. You can spend more time on what you value and get your job done, and you don't have to have the commute. If you're lower in your career, how do you build those relationships? How do you get known for something? Most of what I do today is things that I have worked with people over the years and gotten good at. When you're by yourself, where do you get your ideas from, right? Maybe AI can help on it, but that water cooler talk, Jonathan, you and I meeting at the kitchen in the office that they can get another cup of coffee and say, hey, what about this? What did you do last night? How do you build those relationships? And, I remember my first job, the very second job I got because my boss from the first job had left. He gets to the next job and he takes me with him, right? So how do you get those relationships? How do you build that network that lasts you a lifetime, that help you build out your career, learn new skills, get in front of, actually, how do you get to even know what you charge for things that we've been talking about? You need people around you that you can trust and depend on, and you only get that by spending time with. Hard to do that in your back bedroom.
Yeah, I think that for earlier employees, there's a lot of challenges. The work-life balance gets violated a lot. It's another way that actually the big benefit when you're an employee is that you leave for work, you stop thinking about it. All of my friends, and certainly me when I was younger, 5:01, I'm not thinking I'll work again until tomorrow at
I'm
9.
out.
You can erase it. When you're a boss, no, I think about it all the time. I still have dreams about work and projects, and I think about stuff
I do
throughout the
too.
day because it's when you're driving a team, you have more responsibility. But now I remember when we would go on vacation when I was a child, my dad would tell his boss or his clients, depending on part of his career he was in, all right, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm unreachable. And you really were. Like now, like that's amazing. Whereas now you go on vacation, you still check your phone, your email, you're much more reachable. Vacation's not as real as it used to be. And we're seeing the same thing with work from home, which is that you're at home as your office. So it's not as sacrosanct as what it used to be. It's like, you're not at the office, you're not at the office. So the lines are getting blurred. And I think this is why it's really important for people to, because they have to self-motivate, because we're going to start switching to task-based learning, or task-based payments, you have to start thinking about now as your job, as a business. Even if you're an employee, you have to think about, okay, what happens if this place doesn't work out or I lose my job? What are all the things I can do to put me in a max position? Because there's nothing worse than someone suddenly starts being really active on LinkedIn, means they just got fired. If I just 6 alerts about the same person, they updated their profile, they're messaging everyone, they're doing this, okay. And it's like a big red flag, unfortunately.
Yeah, they buy
And
your membership, right? You know,
yeah,
you're looking.
you have to do all that stuff before you have your network in place. And that's a lot. And have your resume upgrade and all those things should be maintained so that if something happens, you're in that position. You start to think about, well, if I can't get a raise here, maybe I can apply for jobs somewhere else, one position higher. And I can jump up. I jump between companies. That's a very good strategy these days, more common than when I was younger. And the beauty of AI, and as we talk about the 80-20 thing, is that it can analyze what you're doing and help you see the inefficiencies. It's really hard to self-reflect. Like I can tell you right now, there's one thing I hate is on my PlayStation 5, every game I play will tell me how many minutes of play I have. I'm like, I don't want to know that. What do you mean 100 hours? Delete that, because it's like, you don't realize how much time you spend doing stuff until you track it. How much time do you actually spend in the bathroom? You're going to be surprised. How much time do you spend walking up and down the stairs? Or all these things start to add up. But if you analyze them, you can see this is where the opportunity is. Like I used to spend so much time on email. I spend 15 minutes a week now. Like that's an area where I saw it really to be very efficient. I respond to 2 emails a day, maybe 3.
Wow.
And I just have other things like I have AI help me say which emails are important. That's the thing. Most emails I get are things that I need to see, or I just need it because it's like a receipt, or I don't even need to see it, but if I have to look it up, it's there later. And then there's a few that I have to reply to, but very few fall into that final category. But we're so caught up in this expectation that every email is important. But we get so many random emails or emails that don't matter, that's an area for efficiency. When you start to realize that some people spend multiple hours per day, some people spend 6 hours per day. Another area that I'm working on is looking for stuff. Knowledge employees spend about 1 to 2 hours per day looking for a file or looking for a piece of information. That's what I want to get back. But you only notice that when you start to realize I do spend that much time looking for files. Every person listening to this episode was looking for something earlier today, because it happens to us every day. So that's my big focus for the AI tools that I'm building. I'm building one tool to help me remember every conversation, every person, like an AI Rolodex. I'm building another tool that searches my hard drive and always knows where every file is. There's nothing worse than you have to know the name of the picture and it just has a random number name. That doesn't help me. No, it's a picture of me and my wife and there's a dog in the background. Where's the picture of my kids when they were feeding a tiger? So an AI can look at the pictures and find that much faster than me looking at every picture. So that's where I think there's a lot of usefulness, is when you start to think, where am I wasting time on things that don't actually matter?
It's funny, you talked earlier about 80-20, and I've written a couple of books about it. And even if you don't really follow it, it follows you. So we'll spend 80% of our time just searching for things that we can't find. We should be able to find them almost instantly, doing things that don't add value to it. That real 20% where you're maybe doing your podcast or you're coming up with your next big idea. That's what generates your income, gives you the lifestyle you wanted. All this other stuff is just noise, right? Nothing more than that. People who can identify where those wasting. So if you come out with that great search function, I've been using Microsoft products my entire life. They must have the worst search function on the face of the earth. I'll put in like Jonathan Green. I got to call, what's this going? I'll put it, I get back green turnips. I get back, it's just nothing. And I'm like, where's this at? It's the same problem that Google has. I'll put in a particular sentence or search word I'm looking for. I get back 1 billion responses. It tells me it does it in 0.19 seconds. And it takes me 4 pages before I find where we're at. What AI is doing, what people like you are using it for and coming up with these great tools like you're talking about, is I can go into whatever my favorite GPT is, type in that same thing, and it will, based on whatever, give me back this very coherent, Is this what you're looking for? It's quicker, it's faster. I find it to be much more relative. And then I can start honing that down for it. With the new one, I upgraded to that $200 a month one just to see how it works, right? It's amazing what it will do. It's amazing. I'm rolling out some training tools and things, putting it online. I'm trying to figure out, what do I want to charge for this? What does the market bear, right? So I type in just in nothing, just plain English language and say, all right, tell me what these types of courses are selling for. It goes away for about 5 or 10 minutes and I'm watching it because it'll tell you what it's doing. You can actually click on it and see it. It goes through 88 sources across the internet, right? And it says, I'm reading this, I'm checking that. And I think, geez, that's what I used to be doing on the piece. And it comes back, it puts together a really nice spreadsheet for me, says, here's your options, here's what it is. I begin refining and get deeper, but within 5 minutes or less, probably, it's given me more knowledge. It would have taken me 2 or 3 hours to figure that out using Google. Google's a wonderful tool. I spent most of my adult life using it, but what AI is doing today, it's special.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's where the magic comes from, is to look at, you're still there at the top of the pyramid. And I feel like AI really moves every employee into management.
Yeah.
The AI writes your blog post, it writes your LinkedIn post, but you still have to read it. You still have to tweak it. There's always something that's a little bit wonky. I was actually working on a sales page today and it had the word surfacing in there twice. Like, it surfaces the contact you're looking for, my contact software. And I was showing it to my friend. He goes, what does surfacing mean? I go, oh, I thought it was something I just don't know. I just assumed it was like, I didn't know the right I was like, I thought it was some cool submarine term. He's like, no, that's definitely the wrong word. It's on the sales page twice. And I was like, it did it twice. So I figured I must just not know what it's talking about. Like, it's passed the first pass with me. And that's why you always have to have that quality control check, management check. Every time we see, like, there was an incident this weekend where a really big AI company's chatbot went rogue and said that a bug was actually a feature. So it doesn't matter how big it is, a $3 billion company, they're in the middle of an acquisition. And it's like, there's the person goes, that's not a feature. That's a glitch. What are you talking about? You changed the way your whole platform works. And it got into the news cycle. So even the biggest companies still have things go wrong. So it's really important to, even though everyone still uses AI to do their jobs, to get good at it, because there's a massive difference in the quality of results based on who's driving it. It's just like, you could put me in a Formula One car. It's not going very fast.
I'm still not going to win the race. So
I'm not sure I'm going to make it around that corner. So there's still a skill element to it. And I think that's the critical part for people to realize, is that it's just like another tool, just like learning how to send emails and learning how to use a word processor makes you faster. But we just want to be careful, because with any tool, we can very easily fall into becoming more available during more violations of the work-time balance, all of these negatives. But if we use it correctly, exactly as you're right, and I hope that's the direction we go, and it helps you to get your job done faster. You can have more freedom. You can live anywhere you want in the world, and you can get more amazing things done. And I think that's what's really exciting now. I know you're working on a big project in the 80-20 area. You're starting to teach some stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and where people who want to learn more about this concept, you can take it to the next level, can find you online?
Yeah, absolutely. So just want to finish up what you were just saying. I think it's so important. When people worry about getting displaced because of AI, it's just the opposite, right? It just gives you the starter. It still takes a human being who's skilled in what they're doing to get out really great work. And you can tell when someone's just copied and pasted, right? That doesn't really make sense. They've got some word in there like surfacing, right? Like you're saying, it just doesn't make sense, right? And so the project we're working on is we're launching the 80-20 Institute. So one of the things that we've seen and our customers have really told us, and our clients have told us, and our own companies have told us, is like, how do I deploy all this? What do I actually do with it? And we think about learning in the 70-20-10 type of framework. 10% is formal training, right? It's reading the books, it's looking at the videos. 20% is that mentoring piece, right? Having someone actually walk you through it, do the educational side. And then 70% is the OJT. And we think the model we have really answers this across the board. So on 10%, we have hundreds of hours of video, right? People, experts in there actually teaching the classes. You can see that we have the books that go with it. We have the voiceover PowerPoint, almost in any way that you would like to experience it. The next 20%, we have a community based online. It's called the 80-20 Institute, right? You can go right to our website at the 8020institute.com and you can sign up to learn about more information on it. And we are launching this out to the public. That's where you have a community of people, expert practitioners in there who will help you. If you have questions, they can answer, but you can You can go through all the training. You can go through all the learnings. You can get the advantages of it. Now, here's an interesting little secret about training. When we looked at the statistics, about 8% will actually complete the training. About 20% will start it. But when you put a live person in there with it, a coach, a person available to it, and they're looking for you won't get 100%, but the vast majority actually go through, get the training, understand, and they retain it. So 20% is available through you in that community. And then the final piece is we actually will come and help you implement it. Or we can refer you to someone who will come out and actually help you go through with it, whichever one you would like. We believe the 80-20 Institute fills a gap that out there today that no one has been able to fill before, which is that formalized training and then having a community to answer your questions that you can become part of, and then introducing you to either people on our team or people, other ones that can help you execute. So it's exciting for us, right? We're soft launching it right now. And our goal is the beginning of next month, we'll make it available for everyone to come in, sign up on the internet and go right with it. So thank you for your question.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here, guys. As always, we'll have the links in the show notes right below this video if you're watching on YouTube or LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being here again, Bill, for another amazing episode of the Artificial Intelligence Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Artificial Intelligence Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode. We'll be back next Monday with more tips and strategies on how to leverage AI to grow your business and achieve better results. In the meantime, if you're curious about how AI can boost your business's revenue, head over to artificialintelligencepod.com/calculator. Use our AI revenue calculator to discover the potential impact AI can have on your bottom line. It's quick, easy, and might just change the way you think about your business. While you're there, catch up on past episodes, leave a review, and check out our socials. If you enjoyed this episode, I've got 2 more that I think you're going to love. Click one of these videos to dive into more awesome content, and don't forget to subscribe for even more insights on using AI to grow your business. And I'll see you in the next one.